Well, good evening, guys, and welcome to this month's live stream. Hope you're doing well. And I was going to say, how are you both doing? But there's only one of us. So how are you doing, Tom?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Yeah, I had a bit of a break, didn't we?
Yeah,
With
it's
me
been a
being
while.
away and then missing, and then now Matt's away.
Yeah, Matt's away on his summer holidays, so he'll be back next month. But yeah, so there's just the two of us tonight. So what you been
Yeah.
up to?
Oh, but I've actually been out shooting quite a lot recently.
It's about time, let's face it.
I know. I've been sort of trying to. I haven't been, but then I haven't rushed into it again. I've got like weeks and weeks and weeks of stuff just
Yeah.
logged up so that I can sort of go back into it
Cool.
more consistently. Yeah. How about
Yeah.
yourself? You've been away, haven't you?
Well, we did Italy. We did the workshops in Italy, which really went really well. Really good conditions. Apart from one minor mishap. Apart from that, which wasn't a relation on the workshop, it was just one of those events. And then after that, I came back for a few days, and then went to the States with Adam Gibbs for a couple of weeks, which was really good fun. Went from Washington down to Oregon, from Oregon to California and into the redwoods.
Yeah, them trees look pretty special, don't they?
Well, we were really lucky, to be fair. The
Yeah.
conditions we got in the redwoods were something like I've never seen before. It's just like on another level. And I think, to be honest with you, I've probably got some of my best images ever, woodland images in there.
It's crazy, eh? You can go all that way and get conditions just on the day you're there.
Yeah,
You spend years at home and never get.
yeah, and it's funny because I was watching a few YouTube videos by various people like Michael Shaneblue and what have you, and he put a video out quite a few years ago saying, "I've been here countless times for years and never managed to get any image." And we were actually in the same area as he was in. And first day we got awesome conditions.
Crazy.
So it's just the look of the draw, isn't it? It's just the look of the draw.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And actually, we had those conditions for around about 3 days, and then they just disappeared.
3 days.
Yeah, we had about 3 days worth of awesome conditions, and then it just went. It just went.
You must have heaps of images then.
I've got stacks. I've got
say?
absolutely stacks, but I've
3
just been
days.
putting them out slowly but surely. But yeah, I've got a lot.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good.
So
Very
it's
jealous.
all fun.
All good fun.
Right. So our theme for this month was mountains, and we've had a few submissions, and there's quite a few to get through. We've got about 11 images here. Whether I'll get through them all or not, I don't know, but we'll just slowly work our way through them and see how we get on.
Yeah, sounds good.
But before we crack on with this month's uploads, next month we're going to do patterns and shapes, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think that'd be quite a good topic. Quite nice
Yeah,
and
because we
broad.
can leave it quite open to lots of different things that way. If we go for patterns and shapes, it could be anything. It could be patterns and shapes within grand landscapes. It could be, intimate patterns and shapes. It could be anything. It could be anything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So it leaves it pretty wide open, I think.
Yeah, like you could shoot. Yeah, like you said, and it doesn't have to be, dare say, natural. It could be, I don't know, patterns on a fence. It could be, cracked paint on an old door, or anything like that.
Anything. So it gives a lot more people the ability to kind of enter into it, because it's some of these things are going to be limited for some people, because obviously we pick mountains. Not everybody's got mountains next to them, or they don't travel to them, or but it's just going to be the look of the draw, because we can't kind of have things that everybody's going to be able to do every time.
That's it. And even like when we choose, I know we talked about doing like summer greens and things, or winter, but obviously depending on where you are in the world, you might not be in that season. So
exactly.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
It's just going to be the look of the draw for people really every month. But yeah, so we're going to go with patterns and shapes for next month. So if you upload your images to the official Outdoor Photography Guide Facebook group using the hashtag OPG critique, we'd love to see them for next month, and all three of us be here to have a look through them. Right, so we'll go on to number 1, which will be, I think we'll start with this one.
Yeah.
Just because it's nice and vivid. I'll make it full screen there. And this kind of stood out to me quite well because it's nice colours.
Uh-huh.
You've got a bit of everything here. You've got a bit of the ocean in there, a bit of reflection on the ocean. You've got the mountains, obviously, which was the subject, and then you've got the sun, obviously appearing from the back of the mountains there.
Yeah. I really like the way that he's used the light. He's not been. So who took? I can't remember who took this shot. I haven't read it.
Let me come out of it again because it won't
Sorry,
tell me.
mate.
It's John Martin.
John Martin, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the fact that John hasn't been scared to point right at the sun.
Yeah.
I must admit that's something that I don't tend to do very often. If I can help it, I'm normally trying to avoid the sun.
It can be a bit kind of scary in it, trying to get an image that works well with that. But this has been controlled really, actually, quite well.
Really well, yeah.
Obviously, you don't really make out the shape of the sun, but I don't think that's really important with this image.
No. It's almost as well. It's like I wouldn't say fashionable, but like at the moment, you see lots of images where people don't tend to do so many sun stars.
No.
And things like that anymore. It's all about that sort of warm bloom, isn't it?
Yeah.
That sort of warm glow.
Yeah.
And I really like the way that the light sort of flows in and around the mountains there.
Yeah.
You know, you're getting sort of cooler tones, but by allowing yourself to let that light bleed around, then that's when you really get like real strong color contrast. You know, you got the cooler tones on the left.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And it just I think it adds depth to the shot, you know, rather than say a sun star, like closing your aperture right up and going for a sun star. You really are limiting where your eye will initially go. Whereas with a shot like this, you sort of drift more.
Well, I think the thing is lately, is there's more this sort of drift towards a more natural look.
Yeah.
Whether it's because of all the AI and stuff like that that's going on, and all the tricks that people do with photography nowadays, I think it sort of seems to be swinging back a little bit. I wouldn't say it's not like 100%, but there seems to be a lot more natural feel with images.
Yeah, I would agree. Oh yeah, I would totally agree. And that's just what this image gives me. I can imagine if I was stood. I'm assuming, I don't know whether it was a drone image or whether he stood on a bit of land.
Yeah.
But I can imagine if you stood there and looked straight at that sun, you'd be squinting, and this is probably what you would see.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I can totally relate to that. And that's definitely what I have seen on social media these days. Is more people sort of hanging back a little bit, and
in certain cases, let's say.
In certain cases, yeah, not everyone. But yeah,
go to the other extremes. But yeah, we won't go there tonight.
No, definitely no. We need Matt here for that subject.
I also like with this image the fact that you've got this sort of intersection going just off to the right of the sun.
Yeah.
So where those two mountains are kind of converging.
Yeah.
And because the sun's there, it almost kind of catches your attention.
Yeah. That's sort of where your eye ends up, isn't it? After you sort of drifted, you sort of do like a curve around the left and then back round to the far right.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I look at this image.
Yeah. But really, I mean, there's not... The only thing that I would maybe say... It's difficult. It's one of those images that's quite difficult, but I don't know whether there's too much sea.
Yeah. My initial thought, I did think of you, because I know exactly what you would do. But that's not a criticism. I know why. No. I know why you would do that.
Yeah. But the thing is, it's for my eye, it's about balance, really.
Yeah.
And I guess if you look at certain parts of the image, there's equal sky to equal sea. If you
Yes,
look at
yeah.
other sections, there isn't. So I'm not sure whether it's distracting or not. I can't make my mind up whether it's distracting or
Yeah.
not having that there.
I tell you what does it for me, that thought process, is you see there's sort of, obviously you've got the main beam of light from the sun.
Yeah,
Just to the left, there's like a little bloom, like a light
yeah,
sort of spot almost. I find
yeah.
that a bit distracting, and I know
Right.
that's probably just a bit of
In
flare
there.
off. Yeah,
Right. Okay.
I
Yeah.
but obviously with a more of a pano crop, you would have cropped that most of that out.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess so.
But yeah,
I
I
mean,
don't. Yeah,
really, John, there isn't that much to say about it, really, to
no,
be honest with you. It's
no,
it's a nice image. It works well. I think it kind of leads the eye in. So for me,
it's yeah,
that's the only thing that I just thought when I saw that image is maybe there's a little bit too much seeing it, but
yeah. It's more of a personal preference
it is. Well,
than
I
a
mean, a
real
lot of these
critique.
things are.
Like,
I
oh
mean,
yeah, obviously, yeah,
we say this every time. I mean, this is just our opinion. I mean,
yeah,
not everybody may agree, but that's the whole point of these things is just to give you different opinions, different objectives, so you can kind of look at it
yeah,
and see
yeah.
what you would do differently.
And I must one thing I will say is that with a shot like this is I know when the first time, well, when I went to Italy with you boys the first time,
Yeah,
and we took some shots similar like this pointing to the sun. It was slightly later in the
yeah, yeah,
evening, but my Sony sensor was flat. It took me like half an hour to get rid of all the spots.
yeah, yeah.
I can't see anything on this. I
No,
haven't.
no,
So yeah, he's either done a very good job at cleaning up, or he just keeps his sensor clean.
yeah. Josh is online tonight. How are you doing, Josh? He says the fog and the sunbeams in the redwoods looked incredible. It was, mate,
Mm,
and I haven't even shown the best ones yet, to be honest. It was just amazing. I was blown away by it. It was one of those times where you get to a location and it just blows you away.
yeah,
He also said, I like how the sun is off center and the framing is nice. And
yes,
John
definitely.
Martin has joined us actually and says
Ah,
it was
perfect.
taken on a hill on the west coast of Scotland.
Oh,
Yeah,
is it really? Oh, right.
yeah,
Yeah. Well, nice to have you on, John. It's nice to see. I love it when we get the actual photographers on.
yeah, yeah, for sure. It
Uh,
does make a difference.
yeah. There's nothing wrong with that, buddy, at all. Really,
No,
nothing wrong.
not
Nothing
at
wrong.
all.
It's a really nice shot. Yeah.
And the thing is, you're saying it's in Scotland, but it actually could be anywhere because
Oh yeah.
it's
I was surprised actually about that. Yeah.
yeah, because it's got that nice feel about it. It could be
Because the
anywhere.
sun's out.
Yeah, 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 exactly. It's not raining.
Yeah.
Well done, John.
Yeah. Nice image that, John. I like that.
So, just want to remind you again for next month, we're going to do patterns and shapes. So, get your submissions into the official Outdoor Photography Guide Facebook group using the hashtag OPG critique, and we'd love to see them there. So, next one I'm going to go to is this one here by Alexander, and he's actually submitted numerous times before.
Yeah.
And this is Shipsy Mountain in Ukraine. I'll just bring it up full screen again.
Wow. There's a lot. It's just a lot. There's a lot going on. And a lot to see.
Yeah, there is. There is a lot to see.
A lot to see. Yeah. Impact wise, it's quite a very impactful scene, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
And it's obviously a nice bright blue, sunny, harsh day,
Yeah.
which isn't the easiest conditions to shoot when you're shooting so wide.
No, not at all, because it's obviously a wide angle lens, because you can tell by
Yeah,
the amount of foreground that's going on.
exactly. Yeah. What do you think it was shot on? Do you think it
It,
was a phone, or do you think it was?
it's difficult to tell. It's
Yeah,
really difficult to tell, but it's got a real HDR feel about it,
yeah,
which
yeah,
is either post-processing or it's the phone that's done it.
yeah.
That's actually giving it that sort of HDR look.
because there's like a weird little sort of lens flare, isn't there? Like in the middle there. You see
Yeah,
it like
so you've got a little lens flare which is there,
yeah,
and you've also got a lot of fringing around the dog.
around the dog. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's like a
yeah,
halo all the way around the dog if you can see that.
yeah. I can
Um,
see it on the screen. Yeah.
yeah. And
So they're
that's
the,
usually a case that it's been pushed too far, but it's difficult to tell whether this is actual camera shot or whether it's a phone shot and it's just over processed it.
yeah. If I was a betting man, I would say iPhone or Android.
Oh yeah, yeah.
um, yeah, like you said, it's the JPEG's been pushed
Mm,
from the phone. But yeah, I like the idea of it. I like the composition and having his best mate there is
yeah,
definitely it's a nice moment to capture, isn't it?
yeah, it is.
And
It
them
is.
conditions, that cloud is just the shape, the textures, and yeah,
There's one other thing that I noticed. Now it's difficult to tell because without being there, you can't tell really. Because
yeah,
the dog looks level.
yeah,
However, the background horizon line looks off.
yeah,
You see what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
It's kind
yeah,
of slopes off to the left. Now you don't know whether that's actually in the land or whether it's off. It's difficult to
yeah.
tell.
Again, I suppose that could be maybe the iPhone. I don't know about you, but my 14 Pro, if you stick the wide out, you stick it to a wide angle lens,
Distorts it.
it really distorts the world. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So that could
yeah.
be the case there.
I know
That
what you
could be
mean,
the
though.
case.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it could again, it could be because it's shot at such a wide angle lens, as we've just said, it could be just distorting it. It's really hard to tell.
mm,
Josh
yeah,
says hang on. Josh says the hook of the Carpathians through southwest Ukraine. Ah, so that's given us an idea where it is. Yeah, he says 14
yeah,
mil at least. Yeah, I was thinking it's
yeah.
a lot wider than a standard lens, that's for sure.
Definitely. Yeah, yeah,
And that and you can just see what it's done to the sun as well. Whereas in the previous image, it was quite well controlled.
yeah,
This one here, it's not so well controlled. It's kind of blown out, and you've lost quite a lot of detail there.
yeah. That's it. Yeah, yeah. And I would imagine the shadow's been pushed quite a bit,
Yeah,
because them rocks down in front of where the dog is. You would imagine that. To me, that looks like that would naturally be a lot darker than it is
yeah, yeah, yeah,
because it's so down in the depths away from the wrong side of the sun. You would, yeah. So I just think it's yeah, he's opened up the file as much as he thought he could, and it was
yeah.
probably shot on a phone. If I was a betting man,
Yeah, and Taylor asks, can you fix a phone photo in post processing? Well, it depends, really, mate. If you've got Lightroom on your phone, you can actually shoot in RAW.
uh-huh.
In which case, you can probably pull a lot more details back out of it. Um, if it's a JPEG, you tend to struggle and you tend to get artifacts appearing like this. So you get a lot of fringing, and it starts to look grainy. It starts to look degraded. It won't
Yeah,
quite have the same results.
yeah,
Which is why as photographers we mainly all shoot, unless you're like doing journalistic type style photography, you mainly shoot in RAW, so you can actually have control over those details.
yeah. Yeah, I would say he has shot for the highlights, wouldn't you? Because I would say the shadows are more crunched up, more opened up than the highlights are brought down.
Yeah, I mean the snow looks as though it's pretty well controlled. There's no specular highlights or anything on it. It's
Yeah,
looking fairly well controlled, even up to the point of where the sun's coming in and on the right.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, yeah.
It's controlled pretty well.
I would
But
say yeah. That's probably why you got that fringing around the dog is because he's brought the shadows up quite a bit.
yeah, yeah, and
Uh,
then yeah, it's kind of brought that out.
yeah, but I must.
Aside from,
Go on, mate. You go.
sorry, mate, carry on.
No, you go. It's all right. That's all right. You go.
All I was going to say, aside from that, I really like the idea of the image. The image works really well as an image. It's just that dialing back on the processing, I think.
Yeah. And like what it's all about really is getting out, isn't it?
Yeah,
Fair play.
exactly.
That looks like a fair bit of elevation.
Exactly, yeah.
And and yeah, it's what a nice moment to witness.
Yeah,
It
definitely.
looks
It's
pretty
got
swift.
a bit of the actually where that pinnacle is. It's got a bit of the old man of Star about it.
Yeah, it has got that same sort of shape to it. To be
Yeah,
fair.
it has very much so.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, beautiful image. I mean, I really like the idea of the image. It's just if it's a phone, I kind of understand it. But if it's a camera shot, then yeah, there's just a few things that I would really dial back. I wouldn't probably open the shadows up as much. I would probably leave those areas down here darker because they naturally would be.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I really like the idea of it.
It's one of them where you go back to that in 3 months time or even 3 weeks time, and you probably would have done something completely different
Yeah, exactly.
with it. Yeah.
And George says, I agree. The light you and Adam experienced on the West Coast was outstanding. Congrats on some great shots. Thank you very much, George. Right. I just want to come out of this one. So, again, next month, we're going to do patterns and shapes. Oh, just hang on. I've just spotted Alexander saying the mountain at the background
Oh,
really leaned to the left. It wasn't distorted. Right, there you go. Then you see.
well.
That's good to know that, Alexander. Thanks very
Yeah,
much.
definitely. Thank you for
Yeah,
putting a comment in.
exactly. Because this is what I mean. You just can't tell whether it's because you look at the dog, as I was saying, and it's level, but
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Just before I move on, patterns and shapes for next month. Get those submissions into the official Outdoor Photography Guide Facebook group using the hashtag OPG critique. Right. Seeing as Josh is on.
Here we go.
There we go. This is the Mons in Ireland.
Wow.
Yeah, I really like this shot.
Yeah. I just love the cool feel to it.
Mm.
It really gives you. I know, obviously, you got the snow there, but the way that he's introduced a bit of light into the foreground, but the way the temperature falls off in the shadows.
Yeah.
It obviously tells a story of the morning.
Yeah, so you've got nice warm and cool tones going on.
Yeah, which I really like in my photography anyway.
Mm.
Like I think that people underestimate the power of temperature,
Yeah.
and what it can offer an image in terms of like creating a story and layers and the journey, how it can pull you through. I know everyone focuses on light, and you can see the light on the hilltops and the background, which obviously
Yeah.
pull you in. But what's surrounding them little patches of light is the cooler tones as well.
Mm.
Yeah, I think people do underestimate the power of contrasting color and
Yeah.
temperature.
Yeah. It's really nice. Really
Yeah,
nice.
it's subtle though, isn't it? Like
It
it's
is.
very well composed. Like it's not too in your face, but at the same time, it's quite dramatic.
Yeah. Josh says, hiked up into the mountains with all my camera and camping gear, nursing a broken rib for this shot. The snow was so deep I was wearing snowshoes. Ended up camping by a loch after descending after dark. The mountain in the middle is Sleeve Bernach.
Wow. I love the story as well.
Yeah, well, it does make a difference with images. It really does. I mean, obviously, an image should
Yeah.
be able to tell its own story, but it's nice to have the backstory behind an image as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's because at the end of the day, like you're trying to create a story you're trying to create a story in your image. So
Yeah,
like when we do with these live streams, we get to chat to people like Josh, and you get to know the lead up to the image. It's just all adds to it.
yeah,
But yeah, I like the foreground. I I think the mid ground works really well. The way the lock sort of arcs round to the right, and that's
Yeah.
where the light is. And you know, you got the mountain in the middle, which sort of holds you up for a little bit, and then yeah,
Not a
it's
lot I can
nice.
critique in it, Josh, to be honest, mate. I really quite like it.
Oh, really?
Um,
There's no footprints, is there? There's no
no.
real distractions. I can't really see.
Yeah, I like it. I like it.
There's enough foreground, but not too much. Yeah, nice image, Josh.
Yeah, one thing that you've nailed, and a lot of people don't when they're taking an image like this, is they don't leave enough room in between the top of the mountain and the top of the frame.
Yes.
A lot of people constrain it, and what happens is that the image looks kind of compressed, and it looks really sort of I don't know, squashed. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It doesn't
Yeah.
leave it room to breathe.
Yeah, like claustrophobic. It just
Yeah,
feels a
yeah.
bit like yeah.
But that's he's done it really well here because there's enough sky not to do that at all. So yeah, yeah, really
Yeah.
good.
Because the sky is obviously quite blue.
Yeah,
There's not a huge amount of texture in the sky, so you
no,
wouldn't want to add too much of it, would you? Neither at the
well, not
same
really
time.
because at the end of the day, the thing is with an image, if it's not interesting, it's not adding to an image that you really want to take as much of it out as you can.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
But because it's cool, it kind of blends in with the rest. So it's not,
Yeah,
even though there's not a great deal going on in the sky, it still works well with the rest of the image.
yeah, definitely. And that water again is a real sort of element that adds depth to the image, doesn't it?
Yeah,
You really get yeah,
it's nice to see that he hasn't kind of opened up the shadows on the lake
yeah,
as well and kind of tried to show those reflections
yes, I
more
like
than they
yeah,
actually are.
yeah. I love it. It's got that sort of Iceland, like Faroe Islands sort of feel about that water and the way that the mountain goes straight down into the water.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I really like it, mate. Well done.
yeah,
Spot
nice
on.
one.
Right, just want to remind you again, patterns and textures for next month. Patterns and textures, patterns and shapes, sorry. Um, nearly did it. Patterns and shapes. So get your submissions into the official Outdoor Photography Guide Facebook group using the hashtag OPG critique. Would love to see those. And that kind of leaves it open to a lot of different things. You've got all sorts you can go with that. And it can be pretty much anything from stuff in your back garden to actual landscapes to anything you like.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It'd be interesting to see what people come up with because it really opens up the creative license, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It does.
Yeah.
Right, on with the next one, which is Brent Newman. And Brent actually submitted a whole host of images. There's about 30 of them. And there was some really nice astro type images, but I just picked this one out because it was just that little bit more subtle.
Yeah.
Similar sort of thing to the last image. It's got lakes, it's got mountains. So, what are your thoughts on this, mate?
Yeah. It's one of them like real sort of painterly like a slow burner, isn't it? Because not a slow burner, like intriguing an image.
Yeah.
Because where everything's so soft and mellow, but
Hmm.
you know that it is dramatic.
Yeah.
That view is spectacular, but it's been really sort of mellowed down by the haze. Is it? I take like a fog and
It's either fog or haze or a
yeah,
combination of both. I'm not
yeah,
sure.
exactly, yeah. Which does make the scene quite flat
It does.
in
Yeah.
terms of contrast and color, but it gives at the same time, it intentionally or wherever you are, that you only get dealt the hand that you're given.
Yeah.
Um, this scene for me would be like perfect for a project,
Hmm.
wouldn't it? If you shot this, I don't know, winter, summer, if you wanted to do it seasonally, but
Yeah.
to really show the dramatic. I would love to see this, yeah, really sort of embracing the mountains and the sheer power of the place,
Yeah.
and have them side by side because I think it would make a good collection. You know, I think.
Well, yeah, because I think although you've got that fog and you've got that atmosphere and everything happening off in the background, and obviously it's all contrast lost in the background,
Yeah,
so it gives it depth because of that. Because that mountains are way back in the distance there, and it's almost got that contrast depth, hasn't it? Because
yeah, yeah,
it's not in sharp focus. It's a way out because of the contrast or lack of contrast.
yeah,
But it does give the image depth because of it. Um,
yeah, yeah.
and I,
Yeah,
and I think if you were to have that, if that mist or fog wasn't there, I think it would look pretty special if there was some really dramatic clouds in the
yeah,
sky.
yeah,
I think because it's such a flat sky and because of the haze, he's made the best of it, really, that he could make of it.
yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. That's why I still like it because he's really embraced what he's been given, and
Mm,
he's made the best of it, which I can appreciate.
yeah,
Like you said, because the sort of foreground, the midground is, and it slowly builds to the point where you can sort of, it just teases you of what you can and can't see.
yeah,
You still have the effect of as if it was dramatic. You still have them layers, or if it was light and you were using light to add a story of depth and it pull you in. This
yeah,
pulls you in the same way, but
yeah,
it's
yeah,
just more subtle.
yeah.
Uh,
One thing that annoys me is I probably would. I mean, I don't know. We don't know what the land's like in an area, but I probably would have
yeah,
walked forward a few paces because
yeah.
the lake's just cut off by this boulder down here.
On the left there, yeah.
So I think I probably would have walked forward so I got all of the lake in the shot.
Yeah, something, yeah, a little thing that would make a difference to the image. It would help with a little bit of scale with
It's
that
not a
sort of.
big thing, but it's these little things that really bother you after you've taken an image.
Yeah, yeah. It's one of them things, like you said, you get home after you've hiked for 3 days, and
Yeah,
you think, oh, I wish I just walked forward 10 steps.
yeah, yeah. And that's
Yeah,
just about it comes down to a thing that we've said a lot, and that's just about taking more time.
yeah,
Is not just trying to grab the shot as fast as possible, is to try and refine a shot. Just work on it a little bit more. Give yourself that space and room to breathe. Really,
yeah,
is to kind of. I know it's really difficult on the back of a camera LCD screen or looking through the EVF, but try and kind of take a shot and then have a look at it and have a look at the edges, have a look at the corners of your image, make sure there's nothing kind of really distracting, and then just have a look at the image overall and make sure there's nothing in there that really bothers you.
yeah,
Because obviously he's put a lot of effort to get into that location. It's not as simple as probably just popping back there. So
yeah. That's a good point. Because by stepping forward as well, you would put a bit more emphasis on that rock,
yeah,
and you would gain some breathing room on the left. And I don't know about you, but that removing that boulder down on the bottom right corner.
yeah, yeah, exactly. I
It's
did
again,
notice
it's not
that.
a big deal, but it would be interesting to see what it looks like without that. Uh,
Yeah, just clean it up a bit.
yeah, just clean it up a little bit. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
but no, yeah, it's got everything. It's got so much potential, hasn't it?
for sure, definitely.
Yeah, yeah,
Well done. Great image.
yeah. I like it. Yeah, that's good.
Well done, Brent.
Nice one, Brent.
Again, just want to remind you all that it's going to be patterns and shapes next month. I nearly forgot again. Patterns and shapes next month. Please submit your images to the official Outdoor Photography Guide Facebook group using the hashtag OPG critique and get as many in as you like. You don't just have to submit one image; you can put multiple in, like a few of our viewers have already done this month. They put 30 odd in. It's fine. We don't mind. It just gives us more scope to kind of go through them all and pick out ones that we think are going to be worth talking about.
Yeah,
And generally, we're not going to pick out like superb images because we want you to kind of learn something and take something away from this. So
yeah,
we're kind of looking for things that we can discuss.
like this image, it
Yeah,
adds. There's a lot to talk about, So yeah,
I mean
yeah.
exactly. We're already halfway through, and we've already only covered 4 images. So.
I know we haven't even got Matt here blabbering on. So
So next image, and now we were actually mentioning that. This one here is Tristan Jacobs,
yeah, I like this.
and this was the Dolomites. I have a feeling he says just a random mountain in the Dolomites, but it's got a lot of mood about it.
Yes.
And this is the kind of photography I really like, as in
Yeah.
the mountains. I really like the clouds kind of hanging around mountains, and the way that they swirl around. It's just, yeah, it really fascinates me. I guess in the same way as water does. You've still got
Yeah.
that sort of movement that's
Yeah.
quite
Like,
fascinating.
yeah, like an ever-changing element that.
Yeah, exactly. So you never take
Yeah,
the same shot twice. It's
that's
always
it.
changing.
Yeah, that's definitely what I find addictive about photography. The type of photography I do is trying to be more individual and unique.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah, compositionally, I really like it. But yeah, it's all about that light, that mountain, them clouds, really, isn't it?
yeah, because that's where your focus goes. It goes to that pinnacle, and it goes to the clouds and everything kind of moving around. And I really like the fact that in the foreground you've got all this forest going up the mountainside, or what's left of a forest going up the mountainside.
Yeah,
It's really adds to it.
yeah. I don't really see compositionally how you could do anything too different. Obviously you could go tighter, but then or wider. We don't know what the scene was wider. This is a sort of shot that this is sort of focal length that I would normally play around with. That
Yeah,
sort of more intimate and what you always get drawn to.
yeah, yeah.
Is the texture in them clouds.
And I've taken quite a few actually when we were in Italy the last time. I did a
Yeah,
lot of that, just experimenting with it, taking shots like this, like freezing the motion. I even tried long exposure
yeah,
with the clouds again, like you do with water. And
yeah,
some of the effects you can get with doing long exposure on the clouds through the mountains just looks epic. It makes it look sort of almost like from a fantasy film.
yeah. Yeah, it sort of tricks your eye, doesn't it? Because
It does.
it almost, is the mountain moving or is the clouds moving?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, almost like freezing a racing car, like that sort of effect you get around. Uh,
yeah.
but yeah,
So
yeah,
just catch up on these messages. George Cormanicky saying it's a very about the last image. It's a very mystical scene, no pun intended. I wonder if a slightly more defined mountain in the background would make it more interesting. I do really like the shot.
yeah,
Yeah, that's the only thing. The only thing that he might have been able to try is sometimes when you've got that haze and that fog, you can try putting a circular polarizer on, and sometimes it'll eliminate and cut through that haze just a touch.
yeah, yeah.
But when it's
Oh,
that strong, you might struggle. But you never know. It might have brought that mountain out just that a little bit more.
it's like in some sort of situations, sometimes you can always increase the exposure slightly.
Yeah,
With dodging and burning, that will help as well.
yeah,
Bring out some detail in the haze.
yeah,
I use that technique quite a lot when I'm trying to, if I've got a more of a flatter scene.
yeah.
Uh, but yeah, yeah, good point, George.
And Josh says the trees give you a sense of scale. They do. So it kind of makes these mountains look huge with
Yeah,
the size of the trees.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, yeah. And I like the fact that the light he hasn't brought the light out on that hill too much, so
No.
you don't. It's all about the mountains, like we said. So it's not you're not getting like he's using the light and the way he's processed it to
Yeah,
pull you in, but slowly. Not You don't sort of get stuck on the foreground and then get bored. You get pulled in, but you do. I do look at them trees initially.
yeah, exactly. Because it does lead you in quite nicely,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and you can see it's not. overdone, because if it was overdone, you'd see this whole ridge line down here. You'd notice a white line behind it all the way down.
Yeah,
So he hasn't
yeah,
tried to bring out the shadows too much in this foreground. It's quite natural,
yeah,
which is really
yeah,
nice.
yeah. He's captured the moment perfectly, and I dare say, like you said earlier, with a cloud rolling in and out so much, you could sit there for hours trying to
Yeah,
pick out where a point in time when the cloud is sort of evenly distributed. As we all know, the way the weather rolls in and out in and out the mountains. It's
yeah.
not always easy, is it, to get cloud where you want it to be?
Well, no, it's just it's a waiting game. That's all it is. Is just waiting and seeing what happens, really.
Yeah, like you said, like on the last shot, it was take about taking your time.
Yeah, there is quite especially if you're on a trip. There's quite a lot of pressure to kind of get as many shots as you want, as you can make out of a place.
Yeah,
But sometimes that's not always the best sort of tactic to get coming away with really good images. Sometimes it's a case of spending that time just in that one area and dedicating the time to actually learning the area and watching what happens and working and refining compositions on that one place rather than trying to run around and get bag a
yeah.
million images.
Yeah, that's a very good point, actually, because even when you look at this scene, obviously it's hard to tell exactly, but I would think there are even tighter
Oh yeah,
crops here,
definitely, definitely, definitely.
that you would which would unveil themselves and then disappear multiple times. As you're
Yeah,
standing there looking at this image, you'll be thinking, once I get this, I'm just gonna pinch on the detail in their rocks,
yeah,
and then you might be there another hour waiting for that shot to come back again.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, yeah.
Beautiful image, beautiful
Yeah, I love
image.
that one, Tristan. Yeah, good job, buddy.
Well done. And I think just while I've got Tristan up, I pulled down another one of his images here.
Yep.
Just want to mention this one briefly before we move on,
Put up full screen a minute.
because this has got a really nice feel about it as well.
Yeah, this is gorgeous.
It's got a lot of depth going on. It's got a lot of character about it. There's lots happening. There's reflections. There's obviously you've got mountains.
Yeah,
Yeah,
wow.
it's got a lot going on.
Even to the point where that reflection down on the bottom right hand corner, I just that adds to the image.
Yeah, yeah,
It's very busy and there's a lot going on, like you said, but nothing really distracts you to the point where you think, oh, I don't know if I would have put that in.
no, not at all. Not at
Uh,
all.
Even the tree on the left there, I'm assuming intentionally he's made it so the tree doesn't stick out past the top of that mountain.
Yeah,
It
it
sort of
looks that way.
curls,
Yeah, it curls
which
round. Yeah,
yeah, which is for me that would be an important factor. I know
mm,
the other two stick up past the ridge line, but
yeah,
they are so far above it that it's intentional.
yeah. They're not in the way of the main peaks. That's the thing, though.
And that's it, yeah. Um, and again, we've got that contrast in temperature
Yeah,
by that soft bleed of light, like we had with the first image.
yeah, yeah. So you've got cool and warm tones again.
Yeah,
Cool tones off to the right, and then it gets warmer as you go to the left. It's
yeah, that's it, yeah. And the way the light hits the greenery, you get that
yeah,
sort of greeny glow, which you would get, which is quite natural, and then it gets warmer as it goes up to that top left. So
yeah,
it's got a very natural feel to it, but uh, it's been very well processed. I would, for me,
yeah. Definitely.
quite tastefully done and not
Yeah, I
over.
like it. I like it. I just wanted to bring it up because I just thought this was a really nice image. So
Yeah, it's a nice image. Lovely job.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right, moving on. I wanted to just remind you it's going to be patterns and shapes for next month. Would love for you to submit as many images as you like. Get them up there on the official Outdoor Photography Guide Facebook group using the hashtag OPG critique, and we shall go through them in time for next month. We're not sure on the date yet, but as soon as we know, we'll let you know. Now, this one is Wasdale by Marco Berti, and I actually know Marco because he lives down the road from me.
Was so, yeah. It's quite an iconic spot, isn't it?
Yeah, I was there. Was it a week ago? Maybe a week and a half ago, something like that. And it was absolutely rammed. It was hell on wheels.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those spots because you can drive right, well, right to there, can't
Yeah.
you? Uh,
So gorgeous reflections. And Marco, if you're watching this, there's one thing that you really need to watch, and that is your horizon.
uh-huh.
Because I know Wasdale quite well, and then this definitely doesn't slope off to the left, whereas this does.
Yeah.
You can see it just if you look from your right to the left there, it's sloping downhill.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing that I would really watch, is just make sure those horizon lines are nice and straight. I mean, I've made the mistake in the past as well. You don't always notice it at the time, but it's definitely one thing to just double check, is your horizon lines are straight.
Yeah, it's not so obvious when you're there because of the way that the sort of the edge of the water bends, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like naturally bends around, like curves away from you and then back towards you. So it's a lot harder to spot, isn't it?
yeah, it is.
Yeah, yeah. Obviously, it is what It's a snapshot of a hike, a walk, or what that time of day sort of portrays them
Yeah,
conditions exactly for what they are. Uh, and the reflections are obviously really nice. I like
yeah,
the reflections where they are a little bit sort of hazy still.
yeah,
So you get like, I know obviously when you get them nice mirrory glassy conditions, it's very spectacular.
yeah.
But these are quite nice as well because it's sort of a little bit more mysterious and it distinguishes the mirror image, obviously.
Hmm.
Uh, but yeah, what do you think about the sky? Too much of it, or
I think because there's nothing in it,
yeah,
maybe I would have reduced it. Maybe I would have gone 16:9
yeah,
and got rid of a little bit of the sky, um, because there is an awful lot of blue going on.
yeah, yeah?
Um,
And like we've talked earlier, a little bit earlier about looking at your edges as well.
yeah,
'Cause there's a
just
few
yeah. There's a few on the edges there. There's
on
like
the
that
left.
stone on the right
Yeah,
is just clipping the edge of the frame.
I think yeah. If he was, even if he stood where he was and just brought the camera around to the right slightly.
Yeah, it's just a micro adjustment. It's just like
Yeah,
millimeters
yeah,
that would solve that straight
yeah.
away.
Compositionally, that would really improve it. I
Yeah,
think. So yeah, obviously, obviously, I don't know if he has cropped it. I wouldn't have thought so, but
it doesn't look like it. It looks like a full size image.
yeah, that's
But
it.
I would say that that's probably what I would have done. I probably would have gone in 16:9 with it.
Yeah,
Not so much adjusting the bottom of the frame, but adjusting the top.
yeah. So yeah, that's all. It is Marco, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah,
I would just make sure if you're going to introduce an element or leave an element in like that rock down, like Paul says, just if you're going to take the time to add it in, just give it a little bit of breathing room
yeah,
to make more of a point of it.
yeah, yeah,
Because it is such a visual thing, we don't really need to have a mystery of how big it is. Like sometimes you might cut a tree off sometimes in a forest. It's slightly
yeah,
different.
yeah, yeah,
If you're going to add an obvious element like that, just allowing a little bit of breathing room will help uh, the image.
yeah,
And yeah, just the trees on the left. Yeah, it's little things really,
yeah, and just your horizon line.
and the
That's the only
horizon
other
line.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Apart from that, it's perfectly good shot. It's the blue sky doesn't really do it for me, but then there's not a lot you can do about that. It's just one of those things. You go with what you're given at the time.
yeah. The scenes of it's got a very. It's not. it comes across flat because the light is harsh and even, isn't it?
Yeah. This
Which
is this is what's funny though, isn't it? Because this is the kind of thing that'll actually sell as an image, because
yeah,
it's a picture postcard type image rather
yeah,
than what photographers look for is drama, action. We kind of look for that mood in an image.
yeah.
Generally, the public don't.
No, they don't. No, they want something that makes them feel warm and fuzzy when they
Yeah,
walk in the front door.
exactly,
And
exactly.
that's why you speak to many gallery owners and they'll say they sell more warm summer images than they do winter ones.
Yeah,
um,
exactly.
but yeah, uh, yeah. It's a lovely scene, lovely scene.
It
Anyway,
is. Well done, Marco.
yeah. Thanks for contributing, Marco.
Right, I was looking for my other. Right, I'm just going to move on to this one, and this was by Brian Nicholson. And I'm not going to increase the size on screen because it was already not that higher resolution image.
Yeah, mine's very fuzzy.
Yeah, but it gives you an idea of the image anyway. It was just, I think this was the story behind this. He was on a day out with Gary Goff on this Nissi workshop type thing.
Oh
I
yeah,
think it was relatively recently.
is that the
And
Langdales?
yeah, that looks like the
Yeah,
Langdales because
it does, doesn't it?
that looks like one of the peaks that are quite often shot.
Yeah, I would say yeah, that looks like the Langdales to me. But
Yeah, and he called it on the edge because of the sheep on the edge of the cliff there on the left.
yeah,
I'd like to see the bigger resolution file of this actually because it's a nice image.
I love it. Yeah, I love
Yeah,
it. For me, it's got everything.
yeah,
Uh, mood, drama, light, contrast, scale.
yeah,
It, it's got everything really.
it
Uh,
has.
I don't really, like you said, it's a shame we can't really see. It's very grainy on my
Yeah,
screen, but
yeah. It's difficult to see.
difficult to
Look,
see. Yeah,
it's difficult to see because it looks as though there's a nice bit of haze down in the valley there, but it's difficult to know whether it's actually the image or whether that's actually there.
yeah, yeah. Like you
There's
said,
some nice light going on in the grass
yeah.
on the mountains here, but again, it's difficult to actually tell.
We thinking handheld, or we thinking not that really matters. Just interested to see what you
Yeah, I'm
thought.
not actually sure to be honest.
Yeah, because
It
sometimes
looks
like sorry, go ahead.
sorry, mate. With it being a sheep like that, sheep move fast, so I wouldn't imagine that it was set up on a tripod because you know what,
Yeah,
you know, it's like if you're seeing a shot like that, it would probably be handheld for me anyway. I don't know.
yeah, yeah. Because yeah, exactly. Yeah, the light moves so fast as well.
Yeah,
Although the scene sells itself really,
it does.
compositionally, but obviously the light adds to it. But
I think it's a really nice Lakeland shot. It's got that really nice sort of Lakeland feel about it. It's
yeah, if for me, like we said about the general public, sorry, buying warmer images. For
yeah,
me, this is a better interpretation of what the lakes are really like most of the time.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like when the family in the camper van come in the summer and it's 25 degrees and everything's sort of clear skies. That's not doesn't happen very often. This is what it looks like most of the time.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It does, and it's got. I think the thing is with this, like we were saying, whether is it handheld or on a tripod. I think when you've got a moving element like a sheep or an animal of any description, you're kind of wanting to take that image as fast as you can.
Yeah,
So I would suggest it's probably a handheld,
yeah, yeah.
but
I
really
like yeah,
well composed.
really well. Yeah, I like the way that the cloud. It really adds. It adds because of the shape of it. It's not just the texture, the drama of it, like
Yeah,
the way that the darkness sort of hugs you,
yeah,
and the way that the cloud sort of comes around in like a witch's hat on the right
yeah,
is really interesting as well. It sort of hugs you down even more.
yeah, definitely.
Uh, I have again I can't tell. It looks like there's a few rain spots. dust spots or rain spots maybe on
Yeah,
the
it's
top.
difficult to see. I'm not sure there's one up there that
Yeah.
looks like it could be one, but it could be rain spots because looks as though it's just starting to to gonna pour down at any minute.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, adding the sheep is really clever actually. Not
Yeah.
enough people do that, do they? Add
No, this is it.
a living element, and it really does help with the scale.
Yeah.
I think if the sheep wasn't there, it wouldn't. It
Wouldn't have the same impact, would it?
no, it would still be a nice image, but it doesn't have nowhere near the same impact.
Josh says, "So dramatic, love it, including the sheep."
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that sheep looks like he's had enough.
I
uh,
think really that kind of makes it a Lakeland scene, that sheep being there. I think
yeah,
without that there, it's just it's just another mountain shot. But yeah,
yeah, definitely. Yeah,
fantastic.
yeah, I really like
Well
that,
done, pal.
Brian. Really, really nice image. Yeah, really
Well
nice.
done.
I hope you didn't get too wet.
And lastly, Adrian,
Adrian.
my mate Adrian Sneelius put this image in last minute, and you'll recognise where that is
Yes, I do recognise what that is.
straight away, and so will
Yeah,
Josh.
yeah. Wow, it's what spectacular conditions they are. Hey,
Yeah, this year we were really lucky with these
unbelievable.
conditions
Yeah,
again. Just an amazing scene again.
yeah, so good. And the light and the color on the trees as well really helps.
Yeah,
This the time of year is really good because you get that sort of color the color, the grass and the trees, you get contrast, don't you?
yeah,
It's not so bright and green. And again, the color contrast, the cool left,
yeah,
the warm fog, where the light is warm, and
yeah.
where the light isn't is cool and blue. It just gives that real natural feel.
It does. Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
And I like the fact that he's obviously this is because we've both got the same. Well, he's got the GFX 100,
yeah, oh yeah,
um,
yeah,
and we both like those pano crops. But
uh-huh.
this looks as though he's actually done a proper pano on this one. It's looks as though it's a stitch pano because
Yeah, it's a bit, yeah,
it's wide because it's capturing the whole mountain range in.
yeah. It does look a bit tall as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, it's real nice, really nice. I know when I was there, I was really torn between how much of the left to include
Yeah,
because it's almost like a yin and yang image, isn't it? Because you've got that ridge line running right through the middle,
yeah.
and I was always torn. Oh, do I want to include the left or the right?
Yeah, exactly, because it's massive, this mountain range, it's huge.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, but it does work like that because I think because of the color temperature difference.
Yeah,
You've almost got like sunrise on the right and sunset on the left.
and usually what happens at this location is, this here, you wouldn't be able to capture in one image, so that's why the panel works so well, because it's showing this pathway coming down all the way along that ridge line.
Yeah,
And if you were stood there, you wouldn't get all that in without actually stitching a panel together.
yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's such an epic view that when you're stood there, you see it exactly like this, don't you?
Yeah.
With both eyes, you see really well, even wider scene than this.
Oh,
But
yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's
uh,
massive. It's huge.
yeah. But obviously, with a 16 mm full frame, you ain't capturing all that.
No, you'd have to do a stitch panorama. There's no way around it. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and the other thing you have to bear in mind, which is the case that we've said a lot actually, is that when you get to, because basically we were discussing what the best time of day to shoot is and what the best type of light is, and we've discussed it before, saying that basically what happens, especially at locations like this, because you've got a sun that dips behind the mountains, you lose all the light on the foreground.
yeah. You do, yeah,
So you've got to either do one of two things. You either got to accept the fact there's not going to be light on the foreground and shoot for the sky,
Yeah.
or you've got to shoot the sky and the foreground separately.
Yeah.
So you shoot for the foreground when there's light on it, and then you wait for the color to develop in the sky, and then shoot the sky, and then blend the two.
Yeah. That's a good point, really.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
what you would have is a really nice sky, and all of this would be in shade.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is a real predicament when you're shooting in the mountains, isn't it?
Yeah, well, this is it, especially because a lot of the times this is what happens. You do get that light disappearing behind the mountains.
Yeah. Which then you're losing your journey, then, aren't you? You really are relying on the lay of the land to pull you in. Sometimes to get the best of both, you have to take two shots that capture that.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh,
But really,
no,
I haven't got anything to criticize about it, Adrian. It's a really nice image. Really nice image. I just thought it brought up a good point about light and basically stitching panoramas.
they're not a big scary subject, neither, are they? They don't have
Not
to
anymore. Not anymore.
No.
I mean, Photoshop does all the work for you.
Exactly. It's not hard, really. The hardest bit is capturing the data.
Yeah,
when you're there.
exactly.
The easy bit, really. It's not
that comes
hard at all.
back to what we were saying before, is just taking the time to invest in an image and putting the time into an image.
That's it. And obviously Adrian knows what he wants out. He knows the output before he's taken the shot, which obviously is a massive advantage. He knows I need this, this, and this because I want it to look like that.
And he's actually saying that it was the sun on the right and the moon on the left that made me take the whole scene. Yeah, because it's like a day to night image, isn't it? Like,
it is
similar to those.
Yeah, it's very unique, actually, isn't it? To find a scene that works like that.
Yeah, exactly.
That isn't been a complete composite.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like a natural
day
to night.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well done, Adrian.
Yeah, nice one, buddy.
And George says, I recognise it and cannot wait to join you guys on the trip. Yeah, he's coming next year, isn't it, George? Yeah, looking forward to showing you around, mate.
Epic place. Epic.
Yeah, it is. Beautiful. Right, so I think that's about us. I think we're getting there now. So we've got through most of them. So next month, we just want to reiterate the fact it's going to be patterns and shapes. And Ali said texture, patterns and shapes. Get your images submitted to the official Outdoor Photography Guide Facebook group using the hashtag OPG Critique. We'd love to see your images. As I said before, don't be afraid to submit more than one. If you want to put more in during the month, it's perfectly fine. Just put them in. It just gives us a bigger pool to choose from for next month.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, use the Facebook page like a Lightroom catalog.
Exactly, and if any of you aren't on the Facebook group, I suggest you get signed up to the Facebook group, because you get involved in the community, post your images, get feedback on them, and just get involved.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I really hope that we get some interesting images next. Like, creative. Sort of it's a real creative subject.
It is, definitely.
Yeah, so we're interested to see what people come up with. Definitely, yeah.
For sure. Well, guys, thanks very much for joining us. Hope you've enjoyed it. We'll look forward to seeing you next month. Take care.
Cheers. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.